Ladies and gentlemen, may I please have your attention? Please have your tickets in hand before you board the plane. Thank you.
Hello and welcome. I'm Johan Castell and you're watching Wings. On the show today, we feature a grand consecration ceremony at the Ram temple in Ayodhya. We also cover tribal tourism in Odisha, the Hajj pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia, and the latest records from Mount Everest for this climbing season. Let's start. A spiritual wave swept through Ayodhya once again as thousands of devotees gathered for the second Pran Pratishtha of Lord Ram at the Grand Ram Temple. The three-day consecration marked a powerful reaffirmation of faith, echoing through every corner of the holy city.
Driven by deep devotion and faith, thousands of devotees gathered to witness the second main Pran Pratishtha ceremony of Lord Ram at the Ram Temple in Ayodhya, Uttar Pradesh on the 5th of June. This marked the second consecration event following the first Pran Pratishtha held in January 2024.
We had earlier seen Lord Ram in the form of a small child. Now we are excited to witness King Ram's consecration.
We are happy to be here. We don't feel like going back now.
The three-day grand celebrations for the ceremony began on the 3rd of June at 6:30 a.m. local time with a 2-hour Panchang Puja outside the Yagna Mandap. The Yagnashala entry ceremony was also conducted, where 16 priests conducted sacred rituals. A total of 101 Vedic scholars chanted 1,975 mantras during the event. The ceremonies were preceded by a religious procession from the banks of the Saryu River, which drew crowds and set the tone for the Pran Pratishtha celebrations. Following the age-old Vedic traditions and customs, the ceremonial installation of Lord Ram, Sita, Lakshman and Hanuman took place on the first floor of the temple.
8 भिन्न स्थानों पे जो मंदिर हैं,
The consecration rituals for several deities and shrines began on the 2nd of June and will conclude on the 5th of June.
पूजा जो है, उसका कार्यक्रम 2 तारीख से ही प्रारंभ हो गया है.
Elaborate security arrangements were made in Ayodhya for the three-day rituals. Despite the scale of the rituals, regular darshan of Ram Lalla for devotees was not restricted. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath performed the Pran Pratishtha rituals of the Ram Darbar. In addition to the Ram Darbar, several other shrines within the temple complex were also sanctified. Concluded on the 5th of June, the three-day consecration ritual coincided with Ganga Dushehra, an auspicious day in the Hindu calendar. The occasion witnessed a unique blend of enthusiasm, devotion and spirituality among devotees in Ayodhya and beyond.
We visited Odisha for travel coverage a few years back and experienced tribal dance forms and the beauty of remote areas and national parks, but we never made it as far south as Koraput then, where tribes make up a majority of the population. Let us now show you more from southern Odisha.
In the heart of eastern India, where ancient rhythms echo through dense forests and time slows to the beat of tradition, lies Odisha. This is a land of royal legacies, tribal pride and living heritage. The state is known for iconic temples like the Konark Sun Temple, Mukteshwara Temple, Lingaraj and Sri Jagannath Temple in Puri. The pristine beaches of Odisha draw people to its nearly 500-kilometer-long coastline. The state is also dotted with majestic palaces like this one in Denkanal, or Killa Aul Palace, located by the Karasrota River. With impressive palaces comes a regal cuisine, always a delectable treat for visitors. Without a doubt, this upcoming destination is India's best-kept secret. Our journey began in Baripada, where the grace of the Chow dance unfolded under the regal gaze of Belgadia Palace, a moment where myth and movement came alive. This is the Mayurbhanj Chow dance, originally a tribal war dance with roots in the region's forest. Then, by the quiet banks of the Mahanadi in Satkosia, tribal folk songs warmed the riverside air at a twilight camp. But this is only the beginning. For deeper south, traditions face new trials amid shifting seasons and vanishing forests. This is Koraput, located in the southern part of India's Odisha state. Here, a group of indigenous women is fighting for climate change with a travel-worthy mission. Restoring their ancestral lands through dream maps.
By mapping the common areas, we were able to gain insight into the conditions of various resources gathered from the forest: roots, tubers, fruits, and medicine for children, different trees, birds, animals in forest. We villagers also documented the current state of forests, water bodies, village sites, grazing lands, and other shared areas.
In the scenic village of Putpondi, surrounded by forests and streams, women are leading a grassroots effort to preserve the environment that sustains their centuries-old way of life. With help from a local NGO, they've mapped their ideal landscape, lush, green, and self-sustaining, to show how climate change and land shrinkage have impacted their common areas.
If women choose not to assume leadership roles, our children may encounter obstacles. In the event of a decrease in resources such as fruits, roots, and green leaves, our future generations could experience difficulties. When women are harvesting forest produce, they follow sustainable practices.
As travelers visit during harvest festivals, witnessing foraging, fishing, and traditional farming, these women are also taking their cause to local authorities, requesting funds to protect their forests, rivers, and cultural heritage. For visitors seeking meaningful, community-led experiences in India's offbeat rural heartlands, this is not just a story of resilience, it's a movement in motion. For those keen to visit and learn more about tribal tourism in Koraput, there is a tribal museum in the city that offers insights into the vibrant and diverse tribal cultures of Odisha. There's also a nature camp for those who want an escape amidst the Eastern Ghats.
As the Hajj pilgrimage is in full swing, we tell you what it's all about and showcase the latest on Saudi Vision 2030.
Every year, millions of Muslims from around the world gather in Mecca for the Hajj pilgrimage, one of the 5 pillars of Islam. This sacred pilgrimage is required of every Muslim at least once in their lifetime, for those physically and financially able to. The pilgrimage officially begins on the 4th of June. This year, over 1.5 million pilgrims have already arrived in Saudi Arabia from abroad. On the first day, pilgrims streamed into Mina, where the Ansar, or helpers, pledged allegiance to Prophet Muhammad. On Thursday, pilgrims gathered at Mount Arafat, where Prophet Muhammad is believed to have delivered his final sermon. Marking the most important day of Hajj, known as Arafah. Clad in white robes symbolizing purity and equality, thousands stood at the Mount of Mercy.
We are praising Allah for whatever He has given us and what we hope to have here and thereafter. So what we feel is really great.
For tour operator Al-Hajj Khan, this year marks his 22nd Hajj. He leads groups of British pilgrims each year, helping them navigate the demanding spiritual journey.
Right, so I'm back into Mina again, okay? But as you can see, the streets, look at the streets. Very disciplined, mashallah. They're very disciplined. Look behind me right here. Again, empty. All in the tents. It's quite hot.
Hajj is a journey of devotion, endurance and unity, one that continues to evolve, but whose spiritual core remains unchanged. Hajj pilgrimage is underway, and WION recently spoke with Tourism Minister Ahmed Al-Khatib about Saudi Vision 2030.
You know, Saudi Vision 2030 is all about unlocking the potential of the country, including sport, culture, tourism, manufacturing, mining, and so on and so forth. Tourism is a very important pillar of the Saudi 2030 vision. We announced the National Tourism Strategy back in 2019, and last year we have reached to or achieved 116 million tourists, almost 70% of them domestic, and 30 million came from outside to explore, for different reasons.
The country's capability to host significant events has grown impressively. The Hajj, one of the world's largest human gatherings, showcases this excellently.
Today, we are very advanced when it comes to infrastructure, and therefore, people are coming and enjoying. And a good example, when we host event like the Hajj, when millions of Muslims come to visit the holy city, and we manage the traffic very well. And in addition to this, Saudi Arabia is among the safest countries in the world, and therefore, people are enjoying coming and celebrating and seeing and meeting the Saudis and learning about the Arabian culture and the Saudi culture.
Saudi Arabia is moving fast in its diversification away from oil. As a key industry for the nation to tap into, tourism is evolving as an industry and infrastructure probably faster here than anywhere else on Earth. WION visited the upcoming tourist destination Alula in western Saudi Arabia, and it was an experience of a lifetime. The quality of the infrastructure is first class, and the same goes for the curation of hotels, activities, restaurants, and entertainment options. One of the most interesting things about visiting Saudi Arabia as a tourist is that the country only opened to mass tourism in September 2019.
Where are you from? Are you from Jeddah?
Yeah. Jeddah, Medina, and Hajj.
This means that every interaction you have with Saudi residents feels authentic in a way that is difficult to explain. When you visit the country, and yes, you should visit, you will feel that you have reached a new destination. A destination with a culture not yet tainted or molded by mass tourism. You will find yourself feeling welcomed into a world that wants to showcase itself to you in an authentic way. For millions of Muslims worldwide, making a trip to Mecca is extremely important. Perhaps it is time for non-Muslims too to add Saudi Arabia to their bucket list.
72 years after the first historical ascent of Mount Everest, climbers, Sherpas and supporters rallied in Kathmandu to honor the legends of the mountain. But while records continue to be broken, concerns grow about overcrowding, climate change and the fragile future of the Himalayas.
A rally was held in Kathmandu on Thursday to mark 72 years since the first successful ascent of Mount Everest. Dozens of participants marched with photos and banners honoring legendary climbers who have conquered the world's highest peak over the decades. On May 29, 1953, Sir Edmund Hillary of New Zealand and Sherpa Tenzing Norgay of Nepal made history by becoming the first people to reach the summit of Everest, called Sagarmatha in Nepal. Nepal's government must protect the Himalayas from climate change and overcrowding as more climbers attempt to summit peaks like Everest. At a gathering of Everest climbers in Kathmandu last week, concerns were raised about the growing traffic, trash, and risks on the 8,849-meter mountain. Mountaineers say Everest is becoming increasingly crowded and hazardous, with flu outbreaks and weather disruptions adding to this year's challenge. Nepal last year removed 11 tons of garbage and several bodies from the mountain. Permits cost $11,000 and allow climbers a 90-day window, often leading to queues during brief weather openings. A British mountaineer has broken his record for the most ascents of Mount Everest by a non-Sherpa climber. Kenton Cool, aged 51, successfully summited the world's highest peak for the 19th time on May 18th and returned to Kathmandu 2 days later to a warm welcome.
The biggest issue was the numbers of people. Everest is a super popular mountain, and just because of the weather, everybody came together on the 18th. So the main difference was trying to navigate all those people, and not everybody was super experienced.
So how does it feel the 19 times? Like you're...
Oh, it's brilliant. I mean, it's to come to Nepal with with a client Richard here to help him fulfill his dreams, to be with the Nepalese people who are so warm of heart, so generous, to work with my Sherpa friends, Dorji. It's great, absolutely great. I love coming to Nepal. I love Nepal.
Cool was joined on the climb by veteran Sherpa Dorji Gyalzen, who notched his impressive milestone, completing his 23rd ascent of the 8,849-meter giant. The pair took the classic Southeast Ridge route. The Southeast Ridge remains the most popular and accessible route to the summit. Since Hillary and Norgay's historic achievement over 70 years ago, more than 8,000 individuals have reached the top of Everest. But all these people require help from expert Sherpas. These Sherpas are the true heroes that facilitate this big industry for Nepal. Let's look at some iconic Sherpas that have made history. A 55-year-old Nepali climber, Kami Rita, known as Everest Man, has reached the summit of Mount Everest for a record 31st time, 3 decades after his first ascent in 1994. He's climbed almost every year since, guiding clients, and says he's just doing his job, not chasing records.
This time, it was quite difficult. When it's a big group, there is more mental pressure. When you convince climbing members, Sherpa disagree. And when Sherpas are convinced, the climbers disagree. It's hard to coordinate.
Meanwhile, 29-year-old Tashi Gyalzen Sherpa made headlines for summiting Everest 4 times in 15 days, wrapping up his final climb on May 23rd. This spring season has seen over 500 summits, with only 2 reported deaths. Nepal issued 1,100 climbing permits, including 458 for Everest, generating over $5 million in royalties.
The Dragon Boat Festival, also known as the Double Fifth Festival, is a traditional Chinese holiday. This year, the festival, with more than 2,000 years of history, fell on May 31. Our next report details the festival being celebrated in China and the rest of the world.
The Dragon Boat Festival is celebrated on the 5th day of the 5th month of the Chinese lunar calendar to commemorate Yuan, the ancient Chinese poet and the beloved Prime Minister of the southern Chinese state of Chu from the Warring States period, about 600 BC to 200 BC. It is celebrated all over the world by holding dragon boat races and eating sticky rice dumplings called zongzi, which are southern Chinese traditions. Legend has it that the Chinese poet and aristocrat Yuan, renowned for his patriotism and contributions to classical poetry and verses, drowned himself in 278 BC to protest imperial corruption. On hearing the unfortunate incident, the villagers rushed out in boats to rescue Yuan, thrashing the water furiously with paddles to prevent his body from being eaten by fish. Thus originated the daring tradition in which high-speed boats are raced through sharp bends in a spectacle locally known as dragon boat drift racing, which has been passed down through generations.
Dragon boat drifting is etched into the hearts of every Dejiao native. Dragon boat drifting has positive influences in our life and work because we always hold fast to the spirit of Dejiao dragon boats. We'd rather crash the boat than paddle slow.
To locals of southern China's Guangdong province, including international teammates like Michael Lenais, who came from Germany, adds new dimensions to this cultural legacy.
I am not really a next generation. I would rather inspire the next generation for becoming dragon boat racers. It is a very nice tradition and it has a lot of action. Hopolan but hopaman. We are really living that. We are not trying to crash, but if we are crashing, then we will still go on and try our best to make a good time.
The Dragon Boat Festival has paddled across borders this year. At Aberdeen in Hong Kong, an area with a long history of fishing and seagoing business, the enthusiastic racers competed in traditional rowing boats to mark a pivotal moment in Chinese history. In Budapest, around 40,000 people attended workshops and interactive exhibits during the city's Dragon Boat Festival celebrations over the weekend. In the Greek city of Marathon, the first ever dragon boat competition was held at the Chinias Olympic Center, where 6 teams, including 4 from China and 2 from Greece, raced across the Aegean waters. In Vancouver, Canada, 125 teams from diverse regions and age groups braved rain and low temperatures to participate in a dragon boat race on May 31st. In continuation of its growing embrace of the tradition, Sri Lanka held its 3rd annual dragon boat races outside Colombo. Featuring 5 newly donated competition boats from China, the event blended sporting excitement with cultural education. In Argentina's Bay city of Belén de Escobar, the race attracted more than 100 paddlers to compete and provided locals with a taste of Chinese culture. These international celebrations, from South Asia to South America, amply demonstrate the evolution of an ancient Chinese tradition into a worldwide phenomenon, connecting cultures through shared joy and friendly competition.
That's all we have for you on the show in this week's episode, but we'll return with more next weekend. Until then, it's me, Johan Castell, signing off. Goodbye.